Hola mi gente! I'm back. I'm trying to be a little more consistent. Hi everyone, this is Kat. Welcome back to Casey Reads Books, and I am here to talk about my I just had a little bit of a brain moment. Oh goodness, it's Sunday. Happy Sunday. I'm relaxed. I'm here with I got my little well, it's not coffee, but my little drink, my little hot beverage. This mug was my mom's mug, so it's my mug that I love to drink from. So let's do that again without the moment of going on. I am here to talk about the books that I read in January. So my wrap up. There we go. That was the word I was looking for. So this is my wrap up. And I also am going to talk about the books I'm going to read in February. So let's just get started. I'm going to talk about the books that I read, and I don't remember the order I read these books in, so I'm not going to do it in the order I read them in. So we're just going to get right into it. Let's start with, I know this was one of the first books I read in January, and that is Spy Family, Volume 4 by Tatsuya Endo. I love this. This is such a great manga. If you don't read manga, I highly recommend this to be one to start in. It's so funny. It's really also quite warm. It is about a spy, and he's on a mission to prevent a war from happening. So he has to pretend to have a family. He needs a family to get close to his target. So he acquires a daughter and a wife. However, his daughter is actually telepathic, and his wife is an assassin, and he doesn't know, and they don't know, and it's all a crazy, hilarious mess, but they're also quite sweet and just a great sort of made family. And this one, this particular volume added a pet. They got a dog who is an incredibly awesome trained dog who's like really, really smart. So yeah, a lot of fun. I think I gave this a 4. So please, if you haven't picked up like manga, haven't picked that up, pick it up. If you don't like manga but want to pick it up, pick it up. I don't know. Anyways, okay, so the next one that I read in January was Daddy Longlegs by Jean Webster. This is a classic young adult, really, about a girl, Judy, who is a foundling who is given the opportunity to go to college by one of the trustees from the orphanage that she's in. And it's just, and the only requirement that he has is that she write him letters. And really, the letters are just supposed to be just kind of tell him how she's doing, but she's so funny. She so very much reminds me of like Anne from Anne of Green Gables, and a little bit like Jo. So from Little Women. And so she's just, I love Judy so much. And I really enjoyed Jean Webster. She had some really kind of forward-thinking ideas in here. There's not too bad. The language isn't too terrible. Nothing that is overly problematic. There's a couple of phrases, but they aren't, they don't really take away as much from the story, and it is not focused on. It's just sort of what the living vernacular was at the time. Nothing incredibly offensive or anything. Just some things that you might be a little like, wouldn't quite say it that way now. But anyways, so yes, if you've never read this, it's really fun. I do think some people might have an issue with the sort of ending in a way, because it's also a romance, kind of. No, it is. So, yeah, I don't know how to say it, because I love it because it's a childhood one that I loved, and I can see critically how you may not love it, but also I think it's handled very well. And I always think when reading critically, I have to think of the time frame this was written in, which would have been, I think, very early 1900s. I can't remember. When would she write this? Yeah, it was like the early 1900s. So I'm not 100% sure, but anyways, pick it up, see how you like it. It's one of my favorites. I gave 5 stars. I always give it 5 stars. It was so great. And this year, my best friend read it right at the end of Christmas, because she needed like a really quick, fun book to read, and I recommended it, and she loved it. So I was so happy she really enjoyed it as well. All right, the next one that I read this month, and this is also one of my favorites. This is a top favorite series. I read Heartstopper by Alice Oseman, Volume 5. Oh God, I can't believe Volume 5. Volume 5, we pick up with Nick and Charlie again in the lovely throes of their beautiful romance. Charlie continues to struggle with his mental health issues and his eating disorder. Please trigger warnings for both those things if you need them. But this is such a beautifully told story, so carefully, gently, wonderfully told, and very, I don't know, they're just such a beautiful love story. It's so beautifully done. And in this one, it's really about them talking about taking their relationship a little bit further, and how they managed through that, and also talking about Nick applying for college because he will be leaving to college soon, and how they're going to handle that relationship. And I like that in this one, along with Charlie's struggles, we really get to see Nick's struggles as well. He does have some, I think, mental health issues and some self-esteem issues, and things that we've seen over the last few volumes that really come out in this one. So I really love that. I gave it 5 stars. I always give it 5 stars. Yeah, I'm really sad. This is the very second to last one. There's this, where is it? Oh my God, I like almost cried a little bit. Where was it? At the very end here, there's a page where it says, Heartstopper will conclude in volume 6. And I was like, no. I mean, I know people think this wouldn't be my age range. I'm in my 40s. Right. In my 40s, and I know this is the same for young adults and maybe new adults, but I feel like anybody who is a queer person in this world who felt the way you feel when you're a teenager and you don't see yourself in something, this is healing like nothing else. Because a lot of queer stories when I was growing up were sad and tragic, and I didn't see a lot of fun and lighthearted and loving, like, representation. So I was a bisexual in this world. I love Nick because he represents that so beautifully and makes you feel very proud of it. And I don't know, I just love the way Alice Oseman handles this and writes this, and I'm going to be very sad when this is over. And pick this up if you have not yet. All right, the next one that I have, and I have 2 from the library, so let me talk about the 2 that I took out from the library. Pretty sure I wrote it there. Good, I wrote this one down. Oh goodness. So the next one is one of my library, that sun is just a lot. The next one I have is one I took out from the library called The Navigating Fox by Christopher Rowe. I picked it up. I was just at the library and saw it. It was a really thin book. It was very, very short. And it was a fable. So it was, I gave it 4.5 stars. It was really great. I loved the world building that Rowe did in this. There's animals, talking animals and non-talking animals, and it's like this whole society where they live with like humans, obviously, and sort of how politically and culturally that works. And it's just this navigating fox had, previously, the year before it begins, he navigates through like different parts of the country, the kingdom, the country that people can't get through, and he had a party that he was navigating, and everybody in the party died except for him. And so it opens with him sort of having to explain that to the council, and then being told that he needs to do another sort of trip with a new group of people. I don't want to give it away the reason, because in case you read it. Anyway, was really good. The ending was fantastic. And yeah, and it's mostly the fox doesn't know where he came from or why he is able to navigate the way he can navigate, or who created him. So a lot of the story for this particular character is trying to figure out who they are. So yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it. Gave it 4.5 stars. I hope Mr. Rowe writes some more in this world, not necessarily about the same character, but in the world, because it was a very interesting world. So the next one I got from the library was Courting Samira by Amal Awad, which was a lovely, really kind of quiet romance. I actually really kind of liked it a lot. And Samira is does the traditional sort of meeting suitors in her home with her family. She's just very like, hasn't found any suitor that she particularly likes. And then she meets somebody at a work function who is also Muslim, and they get along like very, very well, and they sort of start courting quietly. And then it's about them sort of then doing the courtship with the family. It was really good. I think I gave it 3.5 stars. The reason I gave it 3.5 stars was I loved just like reading about this process, and I don't know, I found it fascinating, and I really actually liked Samira a lot, and I really, really liked the main character, the male character, which actually I cannot remember his name right now, which is terrible. Oh no. But I didn't love the side characters, and they were in it a lot. And then there was one that was like one of her closest friends from childhood, and he was a lot to take for me. Yeah. So there was just parts of it that I didn't love, but like the main characters and their sort of courtship and love, I really kind of enjoyed. And the book is very readable, so I would pick up something from Amal Awad again. She does a great job, and it's set in Australia because she's Australian as well. So it's like, it was like a lot of different cultures and stuff, which also fills in one of my goals this year, which was to read from authors from different countries and books set in different countries. So Courting Samira did both. I was very excited about that. I didn't realize it when I picked it up, but I was very excited. Anyway, yeah, I recommend it. I'm not a romance girly. I'm a little bit of a, well, if I read romances, this is the type of romance I like to read. I like to read I like to read Black romances, or POC romances, Latinx romances, and queer romances. So, I like, not that I wouldn't read a non POC Black or queer romance, but it would take a lot for me to want to read it, and I probably wouldn't love it. So anyways, I try very much not to pick anything, especially in romance, because I'm not really generally a romance girly. I'm trying. I wouldn't normally pick it, so I was very glad and happy to pick this one, and it was a good one. I really enjoyed it. So if you're a romance girly or pally or person, pick it up. You might enjoy it. I just have to kind of readjust myself a little bit. Okay, so I have 3 left. Yes. My favorite that are not rereads or Heartstopper, because those are probably always going to be some of my favorites. So the next one I want to talk about is A House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher. This is my first T. Kingfisher, and can I say I love them? I love this book so much. It's such a quick read, and it does so... Sorry, that was my dog almost knocking over the camera. It does so much in the time that it has to do it in. I loved it. I loved it so much. It's can I say cozy horror? Is that like a thing? Like, because I would say this is a cozy horror. It was so good, and like it really like built up to the end, and the end was actually quite scary. The end is where everything really starts to happen, but like the build up to it freaks you out. And it's really a great mother-daughter relationship. I love the mother-daughter relationship in this. It made me miss my mom a lot. Um, and I just I loved the main character, Sam, because she's an archaeoentomologist. So she studies like dead bugs, or like she studies bugs on obviously like remains that they find in like archaeological sites. So she's very logical. So when the illogical things start happening, all these things that don't make sense start happening, she tries so hard to find a logical reasoning for it. Now, it got a little bit, I liked how Kingfisher took it to that point where you were almost going to be like, girly, obviously this is not a logical thing, come on, like, God. But like right when you're at that point, Sam, it does get to the point where she's like, okay, no, none of this makes sense, this is absolutely has to be something otherworldly. Yeah, and it was great. It was great to see that. And it has a lot of commentary on Southern culture, because it's set in North Carolina, and T.K. Kingfisher is an author, I believe, who lives and is from North Carolina. So yeah, there's some. Oh, it's really funny. It's got humor in it and horror. Sam has a really sarcastic voice that you like. It's got some nice pop culture-y things in it, but not overly so. The side characters were a lot of fun. There's a witch down the street who tries to help, and her mom's like gardener also gets involved, and he tries to help. And I just loved it. Loved it. I gave 5 stars. Please pick this up. I love it. I'm gonna probably try to read as much of T. Kingfisher's backlog as possible. Do it, please. Very excited. The next one, there's a lot going on around me. Sorry. The next one that I read, this is the second to last one I read this month, was The Gallery by Laura Marks Fitzgerald. I've had this on my TBR for a while. It was recommended to me by my best friend April. She really enjoyed this. I gave this 4 stars, I think. I believe I gave it 4 stars. It's a middle grade, youngish adult novel. I feel middle grade-ish, but there's a lot of commentary and things happening in here that we could put into more of a young adult. It takes place in the narrator is a very old woman who's telling this story. But the story itself takes place in the 1920s, 1929 to be specific. And it is about the time that she is kicked out of school for logically asking questions that I would have asked as well. And has to go to work with her mother in the house where her mom works. Mom's worked for this family for a very long time. Like, a bit of Jane Eyre, right? Like the wife, Rose, is in the attic, like in the upstairs part of the house. She's supposedly has a madness to her, and they're trying to keep her calm and safe. And the husband's this absolutely overbearing, horrific character. Anyway, you don't like him, you're not supposed to. Anyways, so she gets involved in some mysteries about Rose, because it's not everything it seems. Rose isn't crazy. Rose communicates with Martha through the paintings to try to tell her what's happening, and Martha's able to figure things out, and it's all about like trying to help Rose and like what happens to Rose. And it's really, really good. It has a lot of art in it, which I loved. It has a lot of like really insane like stories about things that happened in the 1920s that the writer at the end tells you that she found while looking up some stuff, and like a lot of the stories that she uses here were real things that happened. It deals with the crash of 1929, like the Herbert Hoover election. I mean, it's just a lot of history in here that was real and happened put into this story. And I don't know, I loved it. It was really good. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to enjoy it. So if you like middle grade, possibly young adult, I feel like it's more middle grade, because Martha's like 12 or 13 at the most. Anyway, so if you really enjoy that, like, please pick it up. It was a lot of fun to read, and I actually appreciated the end of this book. So yeah, This was really, really good. I don't know what my rating for this is because it is a short story collection. So, you know, some things were fantastic. Some things were just okay. I don't think I give anything below a 2.5. So nothing was like bad. There's some things just weren't as, they didn't appeal to me as much. So I couldn't really maybe connect with them. But they were still really well written, so I think I didn't give anything lower than 2.5. But anyway, what is it? I read Out There Screaming, which was edited by Jordan Peele, which is an anthology of new Black horror. So all these stories are written by Black authors, and told obviously through like Black characters and Black voices. Yeah, this is so good. There were so many fantastic stories. I mean, genuinely chilling, genuinely scary. Like, there's some body horror in here that I was like, ugh. I mean, so good. And I think I wrote down, hold on a second, I had quite a few favorites. The 3 that I think I love the most was Eye and Tooth by Rebecca Roanhorse. That was fantastic. The other one by Violet Allen, and La Serene by Aaron E. Adams. Oh my God. And then the rest were 4s and 3s, and just maybe a couple of 2.5s, but mostly 3 4s and, you know, a couple more 5s, but those were the 3 5s that I loved the most. Yeah, please, if you have not, pick this up. I chose this one for Books and Lala's Buzzwordathon challenge for the year because the word for January was there. So I picked it up. I loved it. It was so good. Please grab it. And I also want to mention before I stop, I picked the gallery up for Rachel Fryman's Golden Girls Readathon challenge for the year because one of the main characters in here is named Rose. And for January, it was pick a book with a character named Rose in it for Betty White. So anywho, okay, that was my wrap up. Oh my God, this is so long. I really hope I can like cut this down. I did not want this to be so long. So I'm just going to go through my TBR very quickly because, to be fair, yeah, that's what we're going to do. All right, so let's get right through the TBR so that we can get over it. Let me start with the TBR that is I'm getting from the library. So I'm getting 2 books from the library for this. So this is my February TBR. I'm in a couple of challenges, the 2 that I talked about earlier, and of course this is Black History Month, so I want to highlight Black authors and Black stories. Although we should be reading Black authors and Black stories all year round. That's just me putting out there, as we should be reading Latinx stories, as we should be reading Palestinian stories, as we should be reading Muslim stories, so on and so forth. We should be reading diversely and inclusively. So I just, you know, get off my horse there. Anywho, and I try consciously to do that as much as I can. Anyway, queer stories as well. Anyway, okay, stopping there. But I did want to focus this month on Black authors and highlighting some Black authors for myself as well. So one of the ones that I'm going to read, and again, I'm not normally a romance girly, but let me tell you, this particular series I really enjoy. And so I'm going to pick up The Hookup Plan by Farah Rashan, which is the 3rd in the Boyfriend Project series. And I read the first 2 books. I love both first books. I think I gave both books 4 stars. And it's a story about 3 girls who, at the very beginning of the series, they were all dating the same man. They didn't know they were dating the same man. And one of them put something out on social media. The other 2 saw and ended up at the restaurant. And all 3 girls basically dumped this man and like humiliated him. I think it also went on social media. And then the 3 of them became like best friends. It was fantastic. So it's about them finding romance after that. The first 2 stories were really great. I think the first one was an office romance. The second one was sort of an office romance. The second one was sort of a pretend to date thing, I think. So like that, it was fake dating. So I also enjoyed that. Now the third one is London Story. So London is the one who's a doctor. She's pediatrician. Yes, she's a pediatric surgeon. And then so it's her story, and something's happening to her hospital, and there's this person coming in. She meets somebody, Drew, who's like a millionaire, I guess. Of course he is. But also I think he has to decide whether her hospital is going to remain open or not. So there's that conflict. So I think it's supposed to be like no strings attached kind of thing, but then all that starts to happen, and feelings and stuff. So yeah, gonna look forward to reading that. I really do enjoy Farrah Rashan's writing. I love the relationship between these three characters. Love it. Love it. Female friendships. Please. We need so much more of that. Positive female friendships. I beg writers to give me that. I'm sorry. I beg writers to give me that. Hold on just a second. I'm looking for my next one. The next one I'm going to get from the library is Blanche on the Lamb by Barbara Neely, which is a really old book. It was written like in 1992 or something. It was really a really long time ago. I think. Was it first published in 92? Yes, first published in 92. And it is the story of Blanche White, who is a feisty middle-aged African-American housekeeper. And I think something happens with an employer. She gets into some sort of financial hardship. She has to go into kind of hiding. So she goes to work for this wealthy family, and then like somebody gets murdered, and she's like the person they're looking at. So she has to use all her like wit and savviness to figure out who really killed this person. And it's a series. I think it's the first in a series. And people seem to really enjoy it. I think it won Agatha Christie Award, the Machiavelli Award, and the Anthony Award, which are like 3 of the 4 major mystery awards for like, and one for best new novel. So yeah, I'm kind of excited to do it. If I really like it, I'm excited to start a new series. It sounds like a lot of fun. Barbara Neely is a Black author, and I believe Blanche is Blanche is a Blanche is a Black character. She's also a it says plump here, so she is not your standard size either, which I love. I love representation. Please, thank you. Hi. So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to this one. I enjoy murder mysteries. I enjoy fun murder mysteries, and yeah, I'd not heard of that one. I took that one because this is for again the Golden Girls Readathon. It's a year-long challenge. So for February, you're supposed to read a book with a person named Blanche or Rue. Those are the 2 library ones that I'm going to try to read. And then here's the rest of my TBR. However, I'm going to preface this by saying I am a mood reader. So I put a lot out there for myself for choices. And so I want to have choices. I think that's why I was able to read 8 books. I don't normally read 8 books in a month, but I put so many choices out there, and then only really highlighted that I'm going to read these 2 books because these are the 2 books that I have like challenges in. And then I was able to have no pressure on myself. I'd like to read 1 book a month, 1 book a week if possible. So I'm trying to be very like, don't pressure myself, because I feel like if I pressure myself, I'm not going to read. That seemed to work in January. So maybe I can read the same amount. If I don't, that's fine. But if I do, that'll be great. So anyways, long story to say, I'm trying to give myself choices. So here are the ones that I have. I don't want this to be the longest video ever created. So I'm going to go through this very quickly and just put it out there. So I am going to read, I've got this, it's been in my TBR for a long time. Washington Black by Essie Edugayan. I think that's how you say the name. If that's not how I say the name, I apologize. I will find out how to say it in the wrap up. But it's about 11-year-old George Washington Black, or Wash. And he goes on this adventure with Mr. Wilde. I think they go to the Caribbean, to far North London, to Morocco, and it's just sort of about him. There's, I think, self-invention and betrayal, love and redemption, and a world destroyed and made whole again. So this sounds wonderful. I know it was one that I heard people talking about. So this was be on my TBR. Hopefully I'll get to it because I really actually like to. The next one that I have is one of the things that I'd like to do this year, and I'll have a video coming out about it, is I have so many book of the month books that I purchase but never read, and this year I would like to read at least one book of the month book every month. I don't think I did it last month, but hopefully I'll do it this month. I haven't put that video out yet. It won't count. But anyway, so I picked up the final revival of Opal and Niv, which was a book of the month club pick ages ago. This is by Donnie Walton. And so let me read what it is. Opal is a fiercely independent young woman pushing against the grain in her style and attitude, a black punk artist before her time. Coming of age in Detroit, she can't imagine settling for a comfortable job. Despite her unconventional looks, Opal believes she can be a star. So when British singer-songwriter Neville Charles discovers her at a bar as amateur night, she takes him up on his offer to make rock music together for the fledgling Riverton Records. In early 70s, New York City, just as she's finding her niche as part of a flamboyant and funky creative scene, a rival band signed to her label brandishes a Confederate flag at a promotional concert. Opal's bold protest and the violence that ensues sets off a chain of events that will not only change the lives of those she loves, but also be a deadly reminder that repercussions are always harsher for women, especially black women, who dare to speak their truth. Decades later, as Opal considers the 2016 reunion with Nev, music journalist S. Sunny Shelton seizes a chance to curate an oral history about her idols. Sunny thought she knew most of the stories leading up to the cult duo's most politicized chapter, but as her interviews dig deeper, a nasty new allegation from an unexpected source threatens to blow everything up. It's told like an interview, so there's a lot of footnotes. You're going back and forth between Nev and Opal, and I think other characters. Yeah, and I'm really intrigued. I absolutely want to read it, and I've had it in my TBR for so long. So hopefully I will be in the mood to pick this up. So my next two are my palette cleansers for all the stuff that I'll be reading, because I'll be reading, some romance. I'll be reading a lot of black stories and black authors, and I'm gonna do some like little palette cleansers in between to kind of like reset my brain and get me to continue reading. So I have two that I'm going to possibly do. I would like to read Lock and Key, volume 5, which is Clockwork. So this is the second to last volume in this particular graphic novel. This is by Joe Hill, and the art is done by Gabriel Rodriguez. I love this. This was actually one thing that I really enjoyed, but I stopped at volume 4 for some reason and have not picked it up. So I figured like this would be a really good palette cleanser during my reading. So hopefully I will pick that up. The other one is, again, another one that is a graphic novel that a series that I'm in the middle of. Also, I think it's chapter 5, volume 5, and I think this is also the second to last. So I keep stopping right before they end, which is part of me not wanting them to end, but whatever. Anyway, that's Paper Girls, Volume 5 by Brian K. Vaughan, and the art is by Cliff Chang. I love this. If you've never read this, this is fantastic. It's about 4 girls who are paper girls who are like have paper routes. The day after, it's the late 80s, the day after Halloween, they basically get sucked into this time travel situation. There's like a war impending. They like meet themselves when they're older. They find out all this stuff about themselves. I'm going on about this. I just palette cleanser, Paper Girls, volume 5. I hope I get to it. I really like to finish these series at some point in my life. All right, the next one I have is the Love Song by Ivy K. Harlow. This was written by Hannah Moskowitz, and this is a queer love story. It's about 2 best friends, one in love with the other one, and then there's a third party that shows up, and that third party and one of the girls sort of starts hitting it off, and it's just how they deal with that. My best friend read this, loved it. It reminded her a lot of one of our favorite shows, which is Queer as Folk, and that it just kind of reminded her of the Michael Bryan Justin sort of situation. And yeah, I was like, oh, please. So, except it's women. So it's sapphic. This is a sapphic love story. So yeah, excited. Gonna read it. So I'll let you know how it goes if I read it. All right, the next one I have is White Smoke by Tiffany D. Jackson. I have had this on my TBR for so long. It is a horror, I believe, and about, I always forget her name, Marigold. I don't know why I forget her name. It's such a great name. Marigold, who's moving from into a new home with her, I think, mom and stepfather. And it's just the house. I think it's a haunted house story. I don't know a lot, but I feel like it is a haunted house story. I think it's a young adult, if I remember correctly. So I've been meaning to read it for a long time. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get it read this month. The next one I have is one that I am so late on. It's just, it was shortlisted for the Booker Prize in 2019. And it's Girl, Woman, Other by Bernardine Evaristo. I know quite a few people who read this, loved this, and I have been meaning to read it forever. From what I understand, it is from one of Britain's most celebrated writers of color. Girl, Woman, Other is a magnificent portrayal of the intersections of identity and a moving and hopeful story of a group of Black British women. So the 12 central characters of this multi-voice novel lead vastly different lives. Amma is a newly acclaimed playwright whose work often explores her Black lesbian identity. Her old friend Shirley is a teacher jaded after decades in London's funding-deprived schools. Carol, one of Shirley's former students, is an investment banker. Carol's mother, Bummy, works as a cleaner and worries about her daughter's lack of rootedness despite her achievements. From a non-binary social media influencer to a 93-year-old woman living on a farm in northern England, these unforgettable characters also intersect in aspects of their identities from age to race to sexuality to class. I'm there. I want to read it so much. So I this is going to be one that I will read this particular month. So I always say, oh goodness. Sorry. Goodness. I always say I pick 3 that I'm going to definitely read. So and I'll tell which 3 at the end here. But I'll tell you now, this is one of the 3 I'm going to definitely read. It's going to go on my I'm going to read part. Oh my gosh. This is so long. Oh my God. Forgive me, whoever's watching this. This is so long. Anyway, okay. Let's the last 2. Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. I have had this again forever. I know I'm late into the game. It is another book of the month here. So I will be reading, but I don't actually think this is a book of a month that I got. I think this was a book of a month I bought at a library sale. So I don't know that it'll count for my book of the month situation. Anyways, Get a Life, Chloe Brown. We know that Talia Hibbert wrote a series of the Brown sisters. So this is the first one of those. It's about Chloe Brown, who's a chronically ill computer geek with a goal, a plan, and a list. She has some sort of, this is all in synopsis, I think she almost dies. And she finally decides she's going to do the things that she's always wanted to do. So she moves out of her family's mansion. She wants to do a drunken night out. Anyway, so she comes up with 7 things she wanted to do. Enjoy a drunken night out, ride a motorcycle, go camping, have meaningless but thoroughly enjoyable sex, travel the world with nothing but hand luggage, and do something bad. Those are her 7 things that she wants to do, which that's a, wait. 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, there's 6. What's the 7th? Anyway, that's the things that she wants to do. And I think she has a neighbor whose name is Red, who she doesn't get along with, I think. And so she enlists him to help her with her mission of getting these things done. And yeah, I'm excited. It's great. It's, obviously Black representation. It's also representation disability. She is a disabled character. She's chronically ill. I don't know, it's fibromyalgia as well. I believe Talia Hibbert herself was diagnosed with fibromyalgia later in life. And she was chronically ill for a very long time. So she uses that experience, I think, in this book to really talk about the dismissive nature of the medical community for people who can't, who don't seem sick, even though they are. Anyway, sorry, that's a very... So anyway, there's a lot going on in this book. I'm kind of excited to read it. I know it's really spicy. So here's the thing. I love it if you're a spicy girly. Sometimes I'm a spicy girly. I'm not so much now, I guess. I don't know. So we'll see if I can handle this spice or not. Because I feel like sometimes it's just ridiculous. But I might enjoy it. I don't know. And even then, I might just enjoy the rest of the story, even if I don't enjoy all the spiciness of it. So yeah, and if I do enjoy this, I'll think about picking up like the rest of the series. But yep, gonna go ahead and give this one a try. And then the last one that I have for this month, and that's because I love this cover. So this has been everywhere, and it's a romantasy, so I'm reading it obviously because February is also Valentine's Day, so I'm also trying to read some kind of romances here. But yeah, I found this anyway. Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I know, I'm sure I'm late to the game, by Heather Fawcett. But look at this cover. Like, I didn't like the other cover, the hardcover one. I mean, it looks more like an encyclopedia, so it looks more like what the story, you know, the whole premise is. But I just didn't love it. This, I loved. I got it because of this cover. Look how pretty this cover is. Oh my gosh. And it's paperback, so, you know, I love that as well, because sometimes you just don't want really heavy books. Oh, it's so pretty. Look it. It's so pretty. It's like foiled right here. It's shiny, and oh, it's so lovely. So I was really happy to pick this up because it seems a lot of people enjoy it. I like fantasy. I can like romance. I'm not sure if I'm a romantasy girl, but I could be. But mostly, and I'm not a fae person, but hear me out. I don't like books that are about fae, but hear me out. This book isn't precisely about fae. It's about people researching fae. So I feel like I might like this more than I normally would a book that has fae in it. Because I feel like it's the research of something. And I like research, and I love seeing other people research things, and I love learning things. So I feel like I will enjoy learning about this. I also know that the romance is really funny, I think, and everybody, quite a few people say it reminds them a lot of Deanna Raybourn's oh my god, my brain, that series, y'all, with Stoker and Veronica Speedwell. There we go. So I love Veronica and Stoker. So yeah. So I feel like, yes, I'll give it a try. Especially this cover is so pretty. So this is going to be one of the books I read for sure this month. Girl, Woman, and Other will be the other one I read for sure this month. The Love Song of Ivy K. Harlow, because I'm reading this for the Buzzword Reading Challenge of the year in February. The buzzword is positive words, so love. And the fourth that I will be 100% reading is going to be the Blanche on the Lamb, because I'm reading that for the Golden Girls readathon. So those are the 4 books I plan to for sure read during the month. And then I'm hoping to pick a few of these up, or all of these up. I don't know. Maybe I'll want to read everything. It would be great. So yeah, that is it. I'm really sorry for anyone that actually put up with this. Oh God, this editing is going to be great. Yeah, I'm going to have a good time. I will try to edit this down a lot. I tend to talk too much, so I will edit as much as I can. So if it's a lot of like choppy editing, that's me trying to save you Lord, that's me trying to save you time. All right, guys, I hope you have a great week. I hope you have a lovely month. I will hopefully talk to you before the month is up. I do have another video that I recorded last month, ages ago, and it was my most anticipated for 2024. I didn't put it up, so I'm gonna put it up probably this week or so, or maybe next week. I don't know. I'm trying to do 2 a week. I'm not even managing 1 a week, but I'm gonna try to manage at least 1 a week, if not 2 a week. And yeah, I look forward to talking to you guys. Please leave me in the comments which of these books you want me to read the most. Of the 4, obviously, that I'm going to read, what do you recommend me to read other than those 4? What have you read? Have you enjoyed them? What are your reading plans for February? Please, if you have a book YouTube channel that I don't follow, which I don't know if I do, but leave it in the comments for me, please. I'd love to follow new people. And I hope you guys have the most wonderful, wonderful week and the most wonderful, wonderful time this week. I hope everything goes well, and I will talk to you hopefully Thursday, but if not Thursday, I will talk to you next Sunday. Have a good one, guys.